Hall of Fame shit, nigga. Keep it. Come on, get out there. Get out there. Good catch, my boy. 5 Unit Nation, man. Number 1, man.
Oh my God, run this shit up, man. Let's go on. We found.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Sgds Same Goal Different Struggle Podcast. I am your host, Ajay Brown, y'all. This is episode 110. I appreciate to all my new subscribers and my new returning subscribers. If you've never heard of me before, my name is Ajay Brown. I talk music, sports, politics, relationship, mental health. I know we had the All-Star game this weekend, man, but I ain't even gonna kick game to y'all, bro. I didn't watch 1 minute of none of it from Friday to Saturday, so I'm not even gonna waste y'all time acting like I did. What I am gonna go over is this new episode that I seen. I'm pretty sure some people have seen it. I don't know how many people have seen it. It's Black Men. Can Black Men Trust Black Women? And I haven't seen none of it, so I haven't watched it. I just seen clips of it going around, and I wanted to just review it and see because it was a lot of, I know a few of the people that was in there. I don't think I know everybody that was at the round table, but it was a whole bunch of black men sitting around just having a discussion, and I just wanted to see what they would talk about, some things that I might agree with, some things I might. Before I get started, if you are new to the channel, please click the subscribe button and the thumbs up button. I really appreciate that for me. And let's get started up on it, y'all. Let me go ahead and get started.
Not because all black women are right, because all black women deserve to be heard.
The main theme is trusting black women, but how do we get ourselves as men fixed to be able to love them the way they need to be loved?
How do y'all think about safety outside of just I'm the protector? You know what I'm saying? How do we build that? Patriarchy is not good. The system of domination for women is not good. But a lot of us buy into that.
Well, I got a question I want to ask. These are all things that don't allow women to come and open up to us because we are ready to play football every goddamn time.
That's how I'm gonna make my wife feel safe. She wants to know that in any conversation, I ain't gonna just be like, nah, I gotta go outside and smoke real quick. Like, she wants to feel safe.
You can't be a natural protector. You are the one that's causing harm.
A lot of men don't got shit to contribute. If you can't even commit marriage to a motherfucking woman, what makes you think that she wants to commit to having a baby?
And the reward for being disciplined is the outcome of what makes men so great and what makes men be able to understand.
I think we're on to something here. I think we're on to something.
All right, so we rolling. So this the thing. We done came together. We done been brought together. We got Sister Song. Sister Song is the homies, and they are doing some revolutionary work. I mean, 2025, let's just be real, has been full of some weird shit, some fuck shit. It's been just some strange shit this year, and black people being attacked left and right, our stories, our educational institutions, our safe places, and our power. And that's my thing, I got an organization called Build Power. So I'm really about power, and it's from the legacy of the Black Power movement. And I don't think you can get any closer to power than the person who birthed it.
Right. Yes.
The black woman, right?
Yes.
A lot of the time, it's black men that stand in the way of it, right? That get in the way of, what we're supposed to be empowering, what we're supposed to be collaborating with. And so when we're thinking about things like, Sister Song is steeped in reproductive justice. And when we talk about reproductive justice, it's the human right for bodily autonomy. Now, here's the thing. I get into all the academic terms and then I get confused. So we're going to get into it for real about what this means to us, what the human right to bodily autonomy, the human right to have kids, to not have kids, to parent kids in a healthy environment, to set up that environment, and what goes into that actually means to us. And I want to make sure that, you know, the way we talking about it, other people can understand it, because I know for a fact, if people came to me however many years ago and was like, hey, what you think about reproductive justice? I would have a very confused look on my face. And I'm like, I don't know exactly what that means and how we engage with it. But everybody here comes from a different perspective, a different life, different experiences. And we want to bring that to this conversation. So I know that there's no way to get there without the empowerment of Black women and centering Black women in that power talk, in that power struggle, in that power strategy, in that movement, in our behavior. And what in y'all's eyes does that mean to you? Like, from y'all's experience, what's your connection to or experience with reproductive justice, and what does that actually mean to you? Anybody kick your game?
As a father, you fall deeply in love with parenting, right? And what that means, and understanding the responsibility that it takes. But you also learn, as a father, the mother ends up doing so much more than what you can offer sometimes. And it's just facts. You don't have breasts to feed this baby. You don't have the kind of just natural intellect to kind of carry things. That's why a lot of fathers just say, here you go, I don't know what to do, right? So I think, for one, it's just accepting that, understanding that you are there to help produce and provide, but then there's gonna be so much more that you can't.
But not all fathers are like that, y'all. I just want to say that, because we don't, like, all fathers are not like that. And I know I heard him say a lot, but I just want to make that clear. Not all of us is just here. We don't know what to do. A lot of us just wasn't taught the certain things that we need to be able to help the other side of a woman. And they come with this naturally. This ain't something that we are literally naturally born to be able to do. So a lot of us just don't have it in us naturally to be able to help them, because we don't really know what they go through. Some of us.
You know, providing. So just trying to be a support system around whatever your spouse or your girlfriend at the time is choosing to do with their body. It's something that I've learned over the years, personal experiences from having to make that decision to have an abortion, you know, with your girlfriend at a young age, to end up feeling like that you didn't have a say-so in it, right? And then understanding as a man where you don't. Once you decide to go into that position and you put your seed into this woman, now that's her decision where to go. You can't say, well, I don't want no baby. You can't have it. No. You should have thought about that before you go. You know, so teaching my son that, right, and understanding that you have a decision very early on in the process, but later on you don't. And if you decide to go through with it, then you need to be ready to support and provide and do the things that you need to do. So that's kind of been my learning curve over the situation. And then just feeling horrible for, as we was talking off camera, about all the women who've lost their lives in this situation and not being able to have the medicine that they need. And not only around, you know, reproduction and having babies, but even down to like fibroids, right? My wife struggles with that, and Black women not having the information that they need to figure out how to get rid of the fibroids and all those type of things. So whatever we can do to just kind of lean in and learn and listen, that's what I've been like. Same thing. If somebody would have asked me a couple of years ago, I said, oh, I guess my perspective may have been different, but now we're in a time where you really just want to have a different understanding. I teach my son that, you know, and then also my daughter, you know, what decision she has to make before she lays down with somebody, and how it can change your life, right?
So it's incumbent upon you to have that information. If your desire is to be a father, is to understand the woman's point of view and the things that they go through. We think of a lot of things that we go through, our upbringing, not having a father or having a father, all our experiences, and the dream of being a father, you know, and having a son or a daughter, and what kind of father you want to be. All of that comes to mind, but before inception, those thoughts never came to me in the sense of what she would go through. You know, how would I handle being in a waiting room and being told something and not knowing the information? Who do I lean on? All those things that come to mind that happen when you're in the delivery room, or the process of having a baby or having a healthy delivery and all of that stuff. And then, you know, I think it's absolutely important for us to have these types of conversations and have these thoughts leading up into the idea and actualizing fatherhood. You know, I think we center ourselves, you know, the patriarchy of it all, we center ourselves you know, we're the ones that make it happen.
Hey, I want to say something. I was raised by women.
Right.
And I ran into some brothers a couple of years, last year, when we were running for election, who felt like Kamala couldn't lead.
Crazy.
I said, but your mother ran the house.
Right.
And my mother tragically died when I was 4, but my sister who raised me was a gangster. Could take $1 and balance the budget like in 25 minutes, $100. So I think that in order to trust Black women, we gotta kind of like, I think you and I were talking about, or no, I was talking to my driver on the way over about holding yourselves accountable. 81% of people don't talk. And Black men have to talk to the women. And a lot of the women, and it's not 81% of women, it's 81% of people don't talk. So I think it starts with a dialogue. But I can personally.
But can you talk to somebody that won't take accountability back in their self? And that's a problem with both ends. I mean, sometimes you have this woman that won't take accountability for her own problems. Like, it has to be both ways in the same point. Because I agree with this, but I think with a lot of Black males, we lack communication. And what comes with communication, a lot of times it comes with growth and just understanding and being able to put our egos to the side and our pride to the side. A lot of us carry that with us. But even with him saying that, you know, his sister was a gangster and stuff, his sister could be a gangster in a way, but still couldn't teach him how to be a man. She's not going to be able to teach you how to pee. She's not going to be able to teach you through the hormones and the stuff that you go through as a male, just like you wouldn't be able, like I can't teach my daughter this. So a lot of times we feel that we're disgrading or downgrading the female and saying that we can't lead. No, it's just everybody's mindsets are different and the environments that we come from is different. And I'm not going to get into politics today, man, but to me, I think a lot of other shit had to do with Kamala not being able to be picked as the leader of this country. A lot of shit that's going on behind closed doors, but that's just my opinion on that real quick.
Let me tell you, I can't imagine walking around with another person inside of me. And I think that we have to yield to women. And I don't think the government can tell you if you were raped. I mean, they're talking about if you were raped or molested, that you have to have that child. I don't think the government should have any say in that. Along with women having a choice of their bodies, we also have to teach our daughters and sons how to be responsible. Not rely on the plan B, you know, because abortion shouldn't be used just so you can all go out and have a good time. Right. Because we walk away, you know, but women have to deal with the body, the changing your body. It's so much. I tell my girl all the time, I couldn't do it. Just having a menstrual cycle. I would say, God, can y'all let mine come it's like once a year? I could pay somebody once a year because I watch my girl go through the changes emotionally, and not just physically, but it's a lot of shit women go through. So I think men, honestly, need to sit down and shut the fuck up. Right. It's a lot that we don't see because if you weren't raised that way, you don't know. It's like you listening to you guys trying to be good husbands. The women gotta let us in and we can't tell them what to do. And I think this government has to step back and let women make choices for themselves.
Women are the first wonder of the world, despite what's said. It's the first wonder.
Exactly.
That's the only thing outside of God that I know that creates. First and foremost. The issues that we have are that the woman knows before we know whether or not life should be brought into earth, brought here, or if it should be aborted. They deserve to have that right for the simple fact of America does not allow us to run a system the way we should as a family. Men don't understand, you may be the leader, but you might not be the provider. Do you know how to lead if you are not the provider? In the midst of trying to figure it out, we coming from
every man can't lead. That's just real shit. Every man can't lead. So that's some like true shit.
A whole bunch of systematic. It's been constructed for us to be the way that we are, to think that we are. That's not how it was programmed.
And then talk about that program I mentioned where they took they paid
black
fathers out of the house.
And then from there, me and Cliff was talking about that. When it started with the Section 8, women were able to take care of the kids without the man being in the house, which gave her the mindset that I can be the leader because I have to be the provider. And then after that, it was the crack epidemic, which guys started using or they was going to prison. Regardless, we stayed out of the house. Now it's social media, and the thing is, we were always here to protect the Black women. And if you ever seen the movie Sparta, men were actually the leaders, but the leader knew how to lead because he still trusted the woman with the gift that God gave her, which was intuition and discernment. And if you knew how to treat your woman and she knew how to love and that stress was off her, it allowed y'all to operate as a family unit to be able to trust her so she can be able to trust you. Once you realize how powerful that woman is, a lot of us run around, and even for myself, I struggle with being monogamous because I didn't understand the value of the woman. But once you put a woman next to God, would you play with God the same way? And if you knew what you possessed as powerful, I don't think that we would run around with the promiscuous mindset of thinking it's okay because we want to look at women the way that we are downplayed the thing of how they are.
So I'm gonna interject real quick though. I think that there's something I think that's really dope that you started with is around women being first close to God, right? Like, because that's a fact. And talking about creation, talking about creating, because I do think people talk about the human race all the time, and it started with blah, 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 blah. It started in Africa, started in Africa. With a black woman, right? And so I do think the closest you could get to power, the closest you could get to life, creating circumstances, and is with the black woman.
You wonder, yes.
But also just want to ground us in, when we talk about reproductive justice, it's not just about birthing, right? It's not just about having a kid. And it's about, when we talk about bodily autonomy, it's about, we all want the right to control our bodies. I don't want nobody telling me what to do with my body, right? And that is a right that expands even beyond having a kid, right? And fostering that environment to be able to raise folks. And when we talked about like the village, right? And that it takes a village to raise a kid. It wasn't like, okay, all these people on the block got a responsibility. It was actually, you understood that kid that every decision that goes into raising that kid, teaching that kid how to move, teaching that kid how to communicate, it forms their future, but it also affects everybody in the village, right? And so everybody had a responsibility to make sure that that person and the people that were raising that kid had what they needed, had the healthiest environment and things, to make sure that everyone is okay, that we all can live the life that we deserve, right? And so, I do want to also make sure that, I ain't got no kids, just so I can't talk about, the standpoint of a father, but there are fathers at this table. I also got 25 nephews and nieces. I'm unk over here, you know what I'm saying? I got unk strategy over here. But there's perspectives from all on this table from every angle of it. And I do want to go back to, and we can go wherever you wanted to go, whatever you wanted to say, but I do want to talk about that, like you said, the government shouldn't be involved. Keeping in mind that this is a government that was steeped in what they call white supremacy. I like to call white delusion, right? You know what I'm saying? It was the same thing, right? And they don't want to believe that they came from a black woman. Yeah, and the definition. Becky, you came from a black woman. Well, the definition of masculinity, the definition of what we do with our bodies and how we define a government's role in that came from that corrupt standpoint, that corrupt perspective. So I 100% agree that the government shouldn't have anything in mind. But where did you want to go with that? Well, I think one of the things that I think helps, I believe, with women's right in terms of their sexual reproduction is the relationship that we have with the black man. I heard a psychiatrist when I was on one of the panels say that African-American men and women are suffering from 450 years of post-slavery PTSD. Yes. So one of the things that I love about this thing right here is that the next one I want to see is black men and black women sitting down together and talking about how do we learn to exist in peace
And I say that because I'm saying this, and a lot of times I have to catch myself. It's emotional. I grew up with a lot of violence around me. My father, when he drank, I seen him knock women. My father fight a baby. He was just off. He was mentally off from the oppression of this culture that broke him. And, so we were born, a lot of us were born into that, our fathers, and we're trying to break those cycles. So somehow that ties into me to women's
which is hard to fucking do, breaking the cycle, especially when you grow up without a father and you trying to break that cycle. I also seen, and this was on the Shy of, I forgot, I just posted this shit too, where they was having the same conversation around the same type of talk, and the boy said, he was like, how can I'm trying to live in a world and be something that I've never seen be done before. I didn't have that in my household, so I'm just trying to do the best that I can. And that's really how I feel a lot of times. I don't know too many single fathers out here, so I'm not gonna make a lot of the right decisions. I'm not gonna make a lot of the right choices. One of the choices I really wish I did marry is being able to have my kids in a two-parent household. That's something that I didn't see growing up, but I wish I did see growing up.
Reproductive choices in terms of having a baby with a guy that's comes from a broken family. Now the baby coming in with a broken family, and bam, 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 and the mother's asking the father for support, like, yo, I ain't asked you to have that motherfucking baby. That ain't shit. I don't even know if that's that motherfucker. I mean, there's so many levels to this that make women cower or not want to talk, or be the victim of one guy shot his baby mama and the kids the other day. It's so I think we got to attack that from not just right now in this racist culture that we're seeing with this administration, but also from a generational standpoint. For sure.
I don't have the historical information, man. That's why I'm a listener, man. I'm a great listener. But when I hear, from your generation, your perspective, and your perspective, and everybody's perspective, in the sense that as we get into it, I feel like we let women down in that regard. We didn't stand on business. And
what you mean by that?
I just feel like we let depression wear us down. Fathers let depression wear them down and beat them down, take them out of the house, and therefore
they forced them out of the house.
Forced them.
No, they had a program. They forced them out.
They
didn't leave the house.
I feel that. I understand that. I can't. But ain't nobody gonna make me leave my woman. I get that. I get it. But ain't nobody gonna make me leave my family. I get what. I understand that. I could never fathom what went on back then.
I think you might be alluding to weak ass men allowing things that might be coming up. Like, oh, this seems like, I don't know exactly the historical presence of it either. But you know how you say, like, oh, like, you stripping us from the house. Oftentimes, I'm a man who dates men. A lot of men are strong. So the way that you say you're not going to take nobody from my family, you're not going to strip me from my family, a lot of people don't walk with that. A lot of people don't have that. So, I mean, like, it is systematic, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, you part of like the few men who is not going to live their life like that.
I mean, I get a system that.
So they got to understand what the system back then. See, that's the shit. And you got a lot of younger, my people my age in there that probably didn't grow up how we grew up. I grew up around a lot of older niggas, a lot of older, like Clifton, Powell. I grew up around these people. And so you get a input of how they grew up, and you see certain things. Like my mom just told me, she like, hey, you always been around older people. You got an old soul. And I'm starting to see that even when I'm doing this shit. I look at my analytics and see that I have a lot of older people that watch my stuff. So I get where a lot of stuff he's trying to say. But when you living in different times in different environments and they have different concepts and different rules, you're not going to understand why the father probably didn't want to leave. And so you're not going to want to really get into the deep conversation of why did the father want to leave, or did the mother choose this Section 8 to be the man of this house? Did you choose the government over the father? You don't want to have that conversation because we got to uplift the black woman, but you really got to have, we're going to really have an open conversation. You really got to be open to everything. And everybody don't want to face the truth. The truth outweighs everything. Every conversation is going to outweigh everything. So if the mother chose for the government to be the father and doing stuff like that, you can't be mad when the government starts shitting on you and turn their back on you. Because if we would have kept everything how it was, where the father was in the home and stuff like that, maybe we would have a different input. Maybe we would have, like, that's what I'm saying. That I don't like that. I don't like how that shit went down right there. I disagree with all that shit.
You live in a place that is just geared to tell you you ain't shit, you ain't shit, you ain't shit,
and it beats you down.
You ain't shit, you ain't shit.
Yeah.
And it beats your other counterpart down. So y'all come home to
madness,
beatness. Yeah. Nobody know how to heal anybody, right?
It's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of different influences that happen, whether it's drugs, right? We know that our community struggled with that for a long time.
But let's talk about them. Let's go back. Let's go back and talk about the CIA putting the drugs in the neighborhood.
That's what I'm gonna say. We're in a country where drugs is probably the most highest profit of things that you want, right? But just speaking on fatherhood and being in the house and not being in the household, I think, it's a lot of pressures coming from each side, right?
Yeah.
I've looked at fathers who weren't in the household and I had conversations with them and say, man, you've been on drugs since you was 12 years old, brother. Your brain doesn't have the capability of thinking correctly, that's right? You are afraid that you can't provide for your family, so you would rather leave, right? Not knowing that you have a woman who's willing to stay down with you and hold you down no matter what, right? So it's just, as a man who, even to this day, get nervous, right? Like, man, this shit is slowing up. Like, am I better off telling my baby and them, like, are y'all good? No, of course not, right?
Right.
But you have to be honest about yourself and say, I'm fearful of certain things, and say, and not necessarily a weakness, but necessarily it's like, I'm scared, right? That I can't provide. And now I've either let someone else kind of tell me what I need to do, right? Rather than following my own intuition and having a relationship with my ancestors in the universe, and that can really guide you, or having that one-on-one with your lady. So many things that can pull people out of the house, similar to the conversation. It's like, well, if I was enslaved, I wouldn't have done that. It's like, well, you really don't know. So it's like, it's so many different things that go into why people do things. And sometimes, you can name it to, it's like, oh, this person was being a coward, or this person was being, but a lot of it is fear, and a lot of it is because we're the minority. And because the pressure that comes from so many other people that don't look like us, it's a lot of pressure that makes you feel that way. And then you got the people that's in your community that oppress you, right? And so as men, we do it to women, right? As men, that's the tier. Right. We do it to women even more, right? We fall underneath that same thing. And so to your point, we got to strip that away, figure out what the issue is with that, have those conversations, understand that it's layers and layers of what it is, but also don't be like, you weak as hell.
I'll make sure that word not like that now.
No, I know. You good. You wouldn't have been able to do it. You ain't been able to hold it down, but it's just like, man, it's so many, reasons why a man will leave a household. And then sometimes it's, us not holding them accountable and saying, hey, look, man, you need to get your shit together. All right, you need to make sure you're over there. Because now I'm sitting here playing spades with you and smoking the game. You ain't seeing your kid 3 blocks down the street in weeks. Right. So no accountability.
And I'm sorry I'm interrupting, but I told y'all I was going to get my input. That's why I don't fuck with a lot of niggas I grew up with. And I ain't gonna speak on their names, but it's a lot of people that don't take care of their kids. They know who they is, period. And then they ain't gotta be the people I grew up with. I do not fuck with niggas who do not take care of their kids, bro, at all. And I know a lot of dudes who don't take care of their kids be out here chasing the next female, creating another life, and they ain't even take care of their other kids. You feel me? I had niggas ask me for money for their kids, don't even know what the fuck they really did for that shit. And there's a lot of kids out here growing up without a father who father wish they was here. And that shit pisses me off to this day, bro.
So to your point, as you was talking to your driver, let's take accountability, but then also kind of give each other a little bit of grace and understanding, especially our OGs who went through a lot, especially our guys who came home, nothing, and lost everything, and went out there and lost their mind, saw things we can never imagine. Right.
Did everything for this place.
Did everything for this country just for them to take it away from you. And so now I say, well, fuck everybody. That's
my entry point to this conversation. I think that because I went to college and I got a master's degree in human relations, I really sat with and grappled with power and domination when it comes to like gender discrimination and when it comes to discrimination against women. So for me in this conversation, thinking about like fatherhood, I can't help but to think about the way in which I was introduced into this conversation about women's progression and how there were critiques of Black women that talked about how us as men don't start thinking about this shit until we start having kids. So we start to think about how we only think about women when it's tethered to a man. Like, hey, respect her, bro. That's so-and-so, little sister. Hey, respect her, bro. That's so-and-so. So it's really thinking about how us as men, in terms of accountability, we really don't even have a good transition from objectification to fatherhood because you've been a fucker for 20 years. And now you don't want to be a fucker no more. Now you want to be a father. Because we don't have that accountability to think about the like how we are taught to objectify women. And I know in our conversations, it'd be like, hey, you can get respect from the homies based off how you get down on a bitch.
Yeah.
To be real, you can get capital, popularity, preference based off of how you're able to dominate and objectify other women. So then when I come into the conversation and I want to talk about progression of women, we start to have different, I'm gonna say pathology, different ways that stigma taps into it. And I think one of those is us being very critical about how we relate to women that's not related to us. Like, how do you respect women that's not your sister, that's not your mama, that's not your, you know what I'm saying, you feel me? Oh, even when you find attractive. Like, how do you respect for those women? And I think that the conversation starts before we start thinking about fatherhood. It starts to me, thinking about it in middle school, you know what I'm saying? But also in this conversation though, it's like, hey, so before you became a father, before you became a father, when did you think about the general welfare of women?
Well, I'm adopted, so I think that some of that has always been in my mind, just to what will make someone give their child up. You know, since I've always known since I was 7. Feel me? So, what environment was she in? Did she feel protected? Did she feel wanted, cared for, seen? All the things. So early on, I think it's kind of gone to a place of just humanity of it all, just like a person. I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. Right. I want to feel how I feel. That's me. I want the same for everybody. Yes. I want you to live your life. I don't want nobody to take their life. But for the most part, if it makes you happy, go do your thing. That's me. Right. That's who I am. I understand that a lot of people are not like that. A lot of people also don't have my experience that has probably made me this way. For sure. My upbringing, you dig? Single parent household, only my mama, watching my mama deal with men, a safety engineer at NASA, you know, surrounded by white men, telling her she don't know what she's doing. And she telling them, you got to put the gloves on. You know what I mean? It's my perspective is from that's my earliest.
That's right. I want to, because how in this moment, because we have, when we're talking about the government, we have abortion bans in Georgia, my home state, Texas, that's leading to women dying, you know, babies dying, people being less safe. And here we have folks, we've been hearing about folks being hung, lynched. We've been hearing about so many things this year that scare me as to how I got a big ass family, how all them people are gonna survive this time. And I'm thinking about, and I'm not thinking about protect Black women like we've always heard it, like protect Black women, oh, that's my girlfriend, that's my, you know, don't hurt my mama, you know, don't talk about my mama, you know what I mean? But you know, when we were talking earlier about a village, right, and how a village, everybody has a responsibility for each person and each responsibility in nourishing, creating that nourishing environment, making sure there's healthy food, you know, clean water, et cetera, et cetera. What are we doing right now to learn what women need, Black women particularly, and play our part in that power building?
I have a question for you guys, because this is something I've been trying to explore, and then I got more on the journey of once I got married, which is like therapy, right? And self-discovery, right? Understanding that my wife had her own journey of therapy. Thank you. Being introduced to anger management, right? It's not because you punching holes in the wall, but it's because you just get certain triggers that you don't know how to handle, and you don't know how to. So I think for me, I'm going on a journey, and I'm curious.
I definitely agree with that. I'm still learning based on my trigger points and stuff like that. But back to what the other dude, I forgot what his just getting brownie points from your homie about that. You know what's so crazy about that is I used to get, I felt like that when I was doing certain things with my clothing brand. And I used to ask why I got so many. I asked this question on Facebook, like why I got so many male followers. And somebody said, bro, because you got all the females that come, you feel me, like all this. Knowing, bro, like that wasn't something I was trying to, the image of that wasn't even really what I was trying to base shit off. I just knew female attract certain things. And now that I base that on my like my brand and stuff like that, it's hard for me to try to rebrand it. And I'm trying my hardest to rebrand stuff, but I understand what he was saying when he said that because we do get brownie points off certain things of like, oh, you got this type of female, this and that. But at the same time, bro, like I'm always respectful to like these females. Like a lot of them, I don't even, like I said, none of these brand ambassadors, I'm not even trying to get with. So I get what he was saying when he said that.
If you all are going on this too, or eager to go on it, because I am learning how to be more enthusiastic about it. Because therapy saying I don't feel like talking to somebody, I don't want to, you know. So just having that kind of, for me, that's where I'm at and figuring out that's how I'm gonna make my wife feel safe.
Yes,
she wants to know that in any conversation, I ain't gonna just be like, I gotta go outside and smoke real quick. Like I ain't, you know, she wants to feel safe, and the more we can make them feel safe.
Yes.
And because you naturally, we all want to provide. Most men, you want to be the provider, you want to go out there and do the thing, but you forget about it ain't just monetarily, it ain't just hanging out with your son and your daughter. Right. It's like, how do I have these conversations and actually know how to have them?
Yes.
Because sometimes you don't understand that. You don't get taught how to, you know, deal with impulse control and all those type of things. I would be curious to know if you all had your own therapy journey and trying to figure out how to, you know, obviously keep your spouse safe or anybody in your life to safe. I know we're particularly talking about the women in our lives. So.
He literally said just what I was about to talk. I don't care what said. If you think you are okay, go to therapy. If you don't, I've been in therapy like 4 to 5 years, and it's bigger than, like Luke was saying, I'm going to stay in my house, but just because you stay in your house don't mean you're going to have a healthy environment, because you could stay for 20, 30 years for them kids, but if they saw anger and this, that, and the third, you can't be mad that they go out and do the same thing of what they saw. It is encouraged that if you take it self, you need to take it self. You need to have couples there. We as men, even wanting to be better, we only have the information that we've been given amongst each other, but we don't have different perspectives. It's okay to take perspectives from white people because they don't have the mindset of survival that we have. So when you hear different, you think different, you move different. You're more optimistic to know how to move within your household. It is my children. I don't care that they're only 9, 10, 7, 6. They have problems, and every black man at this table had problems. We had situations we couldn't talk to people about. Get your children in therapy. If you can't afford to do it, healthcare can cover it. Mm-hmm. Get your children in therapy because they need to have that healthy outlet to have somebody. They don't always feel safe talking to mom and daddy, regardless of how well we are. They don't feel safe doing that.
I would say be careful about getting your therapy from white people, but I
didn't say get it. Don't get it. I didn't say white therapists. No, I don't. Listening to them. In general, when they talk about
watch when you're listening to them too. But what I do want to also say is that I think is really important is that our safety doesn't. That our responsibility in Black women's safety isn't on us to protect our partner generally. It's not just us that's going to have that responsibility.
For sure.
We have to realize that honestly, statistically, the safety from a partner in America is that you're actually less safe from your partner generally. Partner violence is so the safety has to come from how you build an accountability outside of that relationship, outside of that family. What is that village you building, right?
Right.
And so I'm interested.
I'm listening. So like I'm just gathering information. I have a lot.
Well, I'm saying both of y'all.
Jump in there.
How are y'all thinking beyond like I'm gonna protect my partner, because I think that there's a value in that. I think there's a value in I'm gonna protect my partner, ain't nothing gonna happen to my partner. At the end of the day though, when you have such big systems that are targeting you and doing their best to pull y'all apart, doing their best to divide y'all and pit y'all against each other, you can't depend on. And that's something that we're taught. Masculinity is how powerful we can be and how we can protect what we own and what we, you know what I'm saying? That is not what protection is. That's not what safety is. So I'm thinking about, outside of that, how do y'all think about safety outside of just I'm the protector? You know what I'm saying? How do we build that?
The thing that pops into my head right now as we're having this conversation is the system is capitalism, and what that looks like is we're talking about therapy, which I think is very important, but we don't think about the colonial aspect of therapy, which I mentioned in our conversation earlier, and how capitalism and this individualistic view of our responsibility as well is tied to breaking up of our communities. You talked about a village. So when we're thinking about our families, like you as a father, I'm not a dad, I don't have any children, I don't plan on it. When people think, okay, I have a family and I'm raising my children, it's like mom, dad, kids. And we forget like that is a lot of pressure, and it's not supposed to be that way. Right. I think it's supposed to be a community of people that are helping each other, and we have not created that community. It's just like I'm over here with my family here, I'm over there with my family there, and there's no communication. And I think that's ultimately something that's really important, is us being able to come together and create from there, create the community where everyone has a responsibility to themselves and each other.
Our natural ways have been dismantled.
Real quick, do you have examples of what that looks like in your life?
Give me a more specific question. Sorry.
If it's not, you think about it, but just like what that protection, what that looks like. That you talked about colonial effect on therapy. Now I know that to me, I'm like, hell yeah, talk about the colonial therapy. But I also don't. I know that a lot of people don't know what the hell that means, right?
I'm saying, like, when you think about therapy and when you're going,
and I'm not asking you necessarily about that. I'm asking you generally what that protection and that outside help and such looks like in your life.
Like growing up, I'll use my life as an example. Obviously, I grew up with both my parents, my mom and my dad. From the outside, it would look very traditional, but my mom was the one that was really holding everything down. My dad was very supportive with me when it came to providing monetarily. He also was the one that had a more formal education, so he was able to help me when I needed help with schoolwork. But when it came to my care, it was my mom that was there. And then I noticed the way that he behaved, or like his behavior around women, and how he was with my mom, how he was with his sisters and his mother, and how he was with me. So I'm, as a trans person, and as being his daughter and his little girl at the time, he treated me with such care, and it was the complete antithesis in the way that he treated my mother and the way that he treated his sister. So it was interesting to see him treat my mom like shit, and then be like, no, but my sister's like, I'll kill somebody if someone messes with my sister. I'll kill somebody if someone messes with my mother. And I'm like, why don't you bring that same energy to my mother?
So branch off of that. Oh wait.
I mean, and so when in my process, like in my transition, and when I started thinking about how I wanted to show up as a man in this world, it was like I wanted to borrow that softness that he embodied when he was interacting with other women in his family, but not the way that he treated my mother, and what that partner violence looked like, and why. So I started to question what was his view of my mother, because clearly he didn't see her as family. Not really. He saw her as an incubator that gave birth to his child that he now loves and cares for. And then he has his sisters and his mother that he also cares for and wants to protect. But all the women.
That's crazy that, he said that, because I had to do some change of my own of how I seen my kid's mother. And however I look at things, I had to get to a point where I look at them as, these are my kids' mother, and the way I treat them is the way they're going to react and how they're going to treat females. So in my mind, that clicked to me one day. I don't know what day it clicked, but it did click to me. So the way I treat my kids' mother is totally different than how you would say I would treat them probably maybe some years ago or before then. Like, we couldn't have the same conversation then. So the way I treat my kid's mother is basically just, to be honest, man, I think the real reason I think I changed is because I wanted to always break the cycle of anything my sperm donor did. And I see the way he treated my mother, and that's where a lot of my heat come with him, because the way he treats my mother is not the way he treats my, whatever you want to call her mom. You feel me? So to me, that was always bullshit, because to be honest with you, however he felt, he was the fuck up in the family. He was the one that did what he had to do, and he left us to be with her. So that comes with a lot of healing, a lot of trauma, a lot of bullshit, and it just, and you see that shit and you never know how it affects you. And that shit affected me in a way where I didn't even understand it. And it still sometimes probably do affect me in certain type of ways. Ways that I probably ain't gonna never really talk about now. But I do know that played a big part of why I was treating my baby mamas that way. And I had to stop, because at the end of the day, I made them my baby mamas. I made the choice to make them my baby mama. I didn't have to make that choice. So you got to live with the consequence. I mean, you just live with the decisions you make and everything. Like, even if we not on good terms or we not getting along, I try not to be disrespectful to them, or I not try to control my temper and the way I react now. Like, to be honest, we haven't had an argument in like a year maybe or so. Maybe, yeah, like a year or so. So we've been on very good terms, and a lot of that just had to really do with me changing who I was and how I reacted on certain things.
That he would be engaged sexually with were just that. There were things that I would get pleasure, and they can make me a meal, and that was that.
Personally, I grew up with all women. Like, single parent home, had no grandparents except my grandmother, no grandfather. Both had passed away before I was born. Father wasn't around, and taking care of everybody. So I've always conceded power to women. That's been my nature. I guess my nature and my nurture is because that's all that was there. So for my journey, I was in autobiographies trying to figure out where's a man and who can teach me how to do it. What does it look like? I'm looking to Sammy Davis Jr. and Sidney Poitier and anybody that's got an autobiography about whatever, Bill Cosby, only to get that dream shattered. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think a lot of men who've grown up in those environments are trying to figure out how to hold themselves accountable while also holding themselves hostage, right? I was trying to take up for my father not being there. I was trying to take up for my grandfather's not being there, overcompensating and not necessarily knowing exactly what my place and my position was. So I think a lot of, I can't speak for everybody, but I think a lot of Black men just don't know, when they say be a man, what does that mean? Yeah. And not even what does that mean? That doesn't mean the same thing for this woman. That doesn't mean the same thing for this woman. What is her back? So I think a lot of it is both. Is just like, how do I give myself enough grace while also pushing myself and challenging myself to learn and listen and hear. And I guess say, like, even doesn't this, there's not it's different. It's different. All figuring it out, and I think that's just say, like, how much greater can we hold accountable? Shame, man, because guilt and shame will do a whole lot. So used to, putting on, it's just that thing. This is
when it's like, all right,
tighten up.
All right, it's and educating us. A lot of us, we don't remember. Young Paul used to say, read, and you got your celebrity on there, and you don't even see them posters, right? You don't even see things to really push each other, right? Educate. So the more we can kind of educate ourselves, and like you said, to your point, to the village, right? Understanding that it's there, it's obtainable, right? I just shot a movie in Nicholson Gardens, and I'm like, yo, all these kids in the project still got villages that we are taking away. You try to get away from it's tough times in the Black neighborhood. It's like, man, these kids still out here playing. They still out here having a good time. right? And understanding like why or what that is for certain communities and why it's necessary for them. They don't got nobody else. So they got to send their kids outside to say, hey, can you watch my kid today for a second? I got to go to work, whatever. Yeah. So sometimes you get above yourself and think, I don't need nobody. I done made enough money. I can pay for this nanny over here. Rather than being like, oh, nah, Luke, you want your kid to come hang out with my kid today, and then we go do this. We have, remembering that it's all there and it's obtainable, but sometimes to the way ourselves too, you know?
Something that I really do think about when we thinking about power. I think we misunderstand power. We got all types of false definitions and notions of power. And a lot of the time, the way that we understand power is really abuse. Right? It's like we bully each other. We abuse our power over each other and say things that we're not supposed to. We bully or abuse our power over women. We abuse our power over kids. You know what I'm saying? A lot of time that's what we see. And I want to know just a simple question. When we're thinking about, I think with the opposite of abuse, when we think about love, and love can be powerful, love can be extremely powerful. What does it mean to love Black women? And I want y'all to think about, because you was talking about what did you say? Accountability. Holding ourselves accountable while holding ourselves hostage.
Trying to hold ourselves accountable without holding ourselves.
Talking about parents and all type, So I'm just we can tie all of that shit in. It's not conversation, but just introduce it into like, what does it mean to love Black women?
One perspective about love, I think that love is uncontrollable. I think it's spontaneous. I think in its rarest form, you cannot contain it. And I think that's the first part. I think it belongs to everybody. And how it's received is not up to you. But it's how you give it is up to you. But I think it's first there, understanding what the power of love really is. Because I think everybody has their perspective of what love is in my household. What love is with my woman.
Right.
As opposed to what does love mean to her? What does that mean to you? I'll tell you what it means to me. You tell me what it means to you, and let's find our way to middle ground of some sort. I think it's there. It's just trying to understand what that is, because everybody throws that shit around. It's popular, makes a lot of money. It's nice. Everybody wants it. Everybody's fighting for a variation of it.
Right.
It's trying to understand what that is, and I just think that love is not a thing that we can control. It just is. First.
I see this head nod going. I like that. Go ahead. I like it.
I'm going to combine like a couple of different topics, and it won't be in any chronological order, so just bear with me. One thing that conscious will talk about is pandering, and me as a Black gay man, for me, love shows up as different. There's no sex attached to my care for Black women. So I would say for me as a child, one of the strongest women that were within my life was my grandmother. She was someone who, she loved me with everything. She was someone who made sure that whenever I walk into a room, know that, I'm not trying to sound cocky or nothing, but eyes will be on you. People will be listening to you. Whatever you want to be in your life, you can be, whether that be a president, a CEO, whether you own your own business, whether you be a millionaire, anything you want to do, you can do. And with that, my grandmother was someone, she was a banker. She was someone who, she helped her community. All the people from Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas, North Little Rock, Arkansas, she knew all the millionaires. She knew all the business owners. She told people yes, no. She ran her bank. She ran her branch. She had people pull guns out on her and trying to rob her. That same woman who left work, she was someone who raised 2 strong sons. My father's a federal investigator. My uncle, my late uncle, he was a manager of the VA for the suicide unit. She was someone who raised strong Black men. And the same Black men that she supported, the same Black man that she fed that was also her husband, also be the same people that put their thumb on their motherfucking head. So what I'm trying to say is someone who can be so strong. We also live where we're in a community where traditionally, once the white man took his thumb off of us, a lot of us put our thumb on the woman. So one thing that you talked about as far as like your dad and how you treated your mother, I feel like one privilege it is to not be gay. Not gonna lie, I love being gay. Like, whether it's not a choice, it's not a choice. But in my life, what I feel is, you know, it was karma for the straight men, and also like to reject what patriarchy and masculinity look like, because I had to choose how I'm going to live my life. So, you know how you were talking about how your dad, he was real good with his mom, he was real good with his sisters.
And me as a child.
Yes. A lot of men, they just live based off of the moral code. You don't even know what your own motherfucking morals are.
Right.
A lot of you just want to have children because that's what you're taught to. You didn't get no education. You're not saying you have to get education. You have no craft. You have no skill. So all you can do is really just have fun and have children. Nigga, fuck you. And then another thing that I want to say is too, a lot of people, you know, when I said like, you know, having accolades and things like this, a lot of my friends, and especially with moving to Houston, I have such a respect because like in Arkansas, a lot of people had kids by the time that they were my age. I'm 26. Majority of my friends, like they're between 29 to 30 to 40, you know, beautiful women, well into the careers, clocking 200,000 plus. You know, my allyship to them is supporting them whenever we're out. Like I am a protector. I'm not, there's a big kind of like conversation about like, oh, gay men don't want to be treated as like poodles or whatever. Realistically, I'm 6'2", I'm 200 pounds, 215. Like, it's like if a motherfucker step up to my friends, I'm going to defend them. I feel like my presence as a Black gay man is to use my masculinity, me being a man, as to not only allow myself, you know, vertical, you know, promotion within life. I don't know how to coin that the right way, but also bring up my sisters with me. Mm-hmm. And that can be whether it's education, go and get that education, whether it's in careers, because Black women are the smartest group in America. Yeah. They're also the most underpaid. If you want that money, ask for it. You know, whenever you go to that interview, let them know what you want. Mm-hmm. And the same thing as far as like a job, how you can switch out a job, is no different than a man. And you know how we're talking about like the moral basis of, I don't want to lose my track. The moral basis of people not knowing themselves and having babies. A lot of men don't got shit to contribute. If you can't even...
I don't know which Black women he talking about, because I know a lot of Black women getting money. A lot. So it must be... That's why I say when I speak on certain things, like when I speak on certain things and I speak on certain, like it's from my experience. Everybody have a different life and a different experience, and they see different things and different. That's what I be trying to get my brother CJ to understand. Like when it comes to racism and shit, bro, we not in every state, so we don't know what everybody goes through. And how we look is we just projecting on what somebody else might say that's in our state or what we might think, but we really don't know what we're projecting because we don't know what other people go through in other states, because we don't live in these states. So
commit marriage to a motherfucking woman, what makes you think that she wants to commit to having a baby? That 9 to 10 months, that can fuck up that whole baby's life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not being supported.
Yeah, you can't.
In the same way that she was talking about, you know, asking for that promotion and things like that, because that also, when we're when we're seen as having some more control or power over in a work environment, you know, people aren't going to abuse us as much. People aren't going to, supposedly, right? Where are we advocating? You know what I'm saying? In the same way of like not being prepared for fatherhood, where are we advocating for those Black women in the job, in the workplace, and making sure that they are seen in the way that they should be and empowered in the way that they should, in the same way that in fatherhood and outside of fatherhood, when you know that your homie is gonna have is thinking about having kids, when you know that your brother or whoever is thinking about having kids, how are you empowering the mother that or who could be the mother, and how are you holding your brother or your homie accountable? And what does that even mean?
The same conversation I can say like, hey, you need to ask for it 150, 200, 175, be the same conversation like, you know, like, what's he doing? Right. You know, like, and it's like, it might be a conversation. I think also with certain conversations, it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, or whatever, you're still a man. Whenever a woman wants to open up and talk to you about certain things, that's when you want to talk about it. Like, you can't be overbearing, because with patriarchy, with masculinity, it's kind of like you trying to talk about something you want to talk about and shouldn't even want to talk about that. That's you exerting your masculinity over somebody. So like whenever my friends talk about their dating, majority of my friends are introverts. They're real kind of like to themselves. They don't like to talk about their business. When they do open up, that's when I ask like, hey, like, you know, you have X, Y, and Z. Is he providing you what you need? or is he just a placeholder until that right man comes? So sometimes it will be different. It just depends.
Yeah.
Because you got to be the person to say it.
Yeah, I would say too.
You got to go ahead. No, I want to see what you're gonna say.
No, I'll go.
And placeholder might not be the right thing. It might not be the right thing to say, but
you know, I was just talking about. I'm 70 years old, so I come from a whole nother era than any of you Negroes is talking about. And what I've learned, and I'm not saying I'm right. I think everybody is right because there's so many levels to this. But most of this was laid on our parents.
Yeah.
My father was born in 1915 and his parents were slaves. Well, his grandparents were slaves. So what I've learned is it's not your mother's fault. It's not your father's fault. It's not your fault. We were born into 450 years of post-slavery PTSD. I am 69, be 70 in March. I've just learned how to love. Our parents didn't know how to love. Their parents didn't know how to love. And if I could say anybody maybe had an edge, it was the women. That's why I celebrate Black women.
Y'all see why I get with Clifton. That's why I say I got an old soul, because I know where he's about to go with this shit, bro. And the way he looks at things is a lot of times how I look at things, because I grew up under this bearing of how he's talking, and I know where he about to go with this.
I live with a psychiatrist, forensics detective, gangster, loving Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer, who's just been patient with me to teach me how to love. But in closing on this, because I don't want to get too deep, I called my buddy, man. I said, I'm fucking up, bro, really bad. I'm fucking up. So I never been monogamous. So I don't even fucking know
what age did you become a monogamous?
Today. I mean, and we don't talk about dopamine being in a pleasant center of the brain. Talk about oxytocin is the hormone. It's called the cuddle hormone. So a lot of times we're just talking in generalities, and that's why I think what you said about counseling, because a counselor is going to get inside of this from a real, not even white people perspective, just from a scientific perspective, unless science is not wrong and the brain is not made what it is. So when I hurt my girl, which I've done over and over, and I commend her for even being with me, and I said it in my podcast, and I'm gonna say this and stop. I called one of my partners who was brilliant. He said, when you hurt somebody, where you leave them is where they stay. So I think our parents, our grandparents, our uncles, the people that raised us, those men who treated the women outside the house nice, but then put the thumb on the grandmama and put the thumb on the girlfriend or whoever. They are all, it all comes from out of all of that. And I think that's what makes me excited that we're going to bring the women and the uncles and we need to bring them all in here. But go ahead, what you want to say?
The one thing that I just want to talk about in Luke, make sure I say the name right, prop this part out. Okay. What Luke brought up was like accountability. Like, yes, we can talk about, what our families did to us, all this, all that. But eventually, and I know white people try and say this, and I really don't like that, but eventually comes a point where you have to decide, how do I want to live my life? I haven't talked to my daddy in 6 years. I don't give a fuck about what my family has gone through. I know where I will go. So it's like, you can only say that for so long. Black women are tired and, kind of like putting onto them like, hey, like, you didn't do this entirely, because everybody in here, several people have talked about like, going to counseling. Have that upon yourself. Stop waiting for a woman to tell you what you need to do. Take that upon yourself.
Let me address that real quickly. For me, I didn't know fucking how to
love. Can I say one more thing? No, I have to say this, because another thing that happens is too, you live your life for so long, and I'm not meaning no disrespect by this.
It's all right, just say it, bro.
But when you hit your 60s and your 70s, I want to be right.
Okay, but let me.
I want to live my life right. I want someone to take care of me and protect me, and that's what a lot of women have issues with.
Because I'm living it right the fuck now.
As I said, I said 60s and 70s.
Let me say this.
Don't overtalk me.
I'm gonna fucking overtalk you because you're talking out of line.
But you're not gonna disrespect me.
You don't know what the fuck you talking about.
I am. I do.
Love it.
I do.
You don't know what the fuck you talking about.
Oh, I do.
You can't.
I do. I do.
You don't know it, nigga.
I do.
I'm good. You don't know what the fuck you do.
I knew that's where this shit was about to head, because I know Clifton, when he said he was raised by a Scorpio, a Pisces, and a Cancer, but that's all the wrong type of connections and energy. And then he's raised in it. That's why I say, bro, you raised under a different world, bro. Like they was raised in. He's seen a lot of how certain things, like we don't want to take accountability. And bro, let me just finish on, because bro, I don't want to go too in deep today.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm living. You can't tell me what the fuck I'm living, nigga. I'm living it right now. You cannot fix no shit that you don't even know what's happening.
I think there's a misunderstanding.
No, but he's generalized. You can't. Listen, bro. Let me stop. This is what it is. Let's get to the truth of this shit. You can't fix no shit unless you meet somebody who is on another level to help you elevate to understand. I'm not indicting anybody. I'm telling you what the shit is. You can't fix some shit that you don't know about, bro.
Yeah.
You can't. And then you get there at 70 and say, I thought I was being loving all this time. That's what our parents have gone through, and that's why we all so fucked up right now.
You asked, how do we love Black women?
Yeah.
That's right here. Trust Black women and listen to Black women, because they know more than we do what it is that they need.
I don't think that's true either.
As men,
there's a lot of Black women who don't know how to love.
I'm not talking about what they know how to love. I'm saying what they need as far as the reproduction.
I get that.
We're talking about, that's what we're talking about right now. Also, if we're going to use our privilege and power as men in society, how do we show up and be accountable? Like you said, the way to be accountable is to dismantle patriarchy, because patriarchy makes it so that men have the power and women do not.
But you can't.
I think they got too many people on here that's not. They should have had more people that's Clifton age too to make it a bear, because these people that's on my age, they're not gonna really understand where the fuck they coming from, because they're living in these times and how they feel about these days. He come from a whole different generation, a different world. So that's why a lot of times they're not gonna really understand it, because you didn't grow up the way he grew up. They wasn't around it. That's why I say with me, bro, I grew up too fast, because I grew up around older people. I learned my language from the older people. So I never really fit in with my group of people. That's why when my brother CJ asked me to come around, a lot of times I don't come the fuck around, because I already know somebody gonna try to trigger me the same way that shit is. And see, that's the shit I don't be liking, bro. Like gay men's and that shit, bro, how he reacted, bro. You gotta sit there, and they feel like they gonna always take up for women. That's just their thing, because they want to be women. I don't care how nobody feel. They gonna say it, whatever, fuck how you feel. And that's cool. We gonna always, but what Clifton said is right. Let's put it all out to put the truth on the table, because the truth outweighs every fucking thing.
Get there unless you listen to him. We got to go, and you may not agree. We gotta go to therapy. I should be in therapy right now. My girl should be in therapy. We all come from generations and generations, and you can't motherfucker sit here and tell me when I'm going through at 70, I just realized, but listen to what I'm saying. We good, bro. It's not gonna get out of control. This is real shit. Bro, this is real shit. I'm telling you, you can't love a queen. Some of these girls out here in Queens because their daddies wasn't there. If your daddy ain't there from 12 to 25, you're going down a rabbit hole. Promiscuity, drugs, gotta read more. Gotta stop getting so fucking defensive and read more, because I read. I know what the fuck I'm talking about, because I'm living it. Until you meet a real motherfucking queen who had to figure out her trauma, you can't even learn how to love a Black woman.
So here's one thing.
That's what we gotta start.
Here's one thing with because I think I agree that you can't wait until you know. You
gotta hold yourself accountable. So if you figure it out.
Hold on.
If you figure it out, bro.
But you gotta let other people talk. Hold on.
No, I got you. That's why I can't do this, bro. I got you. I'm on. You can't. You can't.
The arguments are important. This is how Black men talk to each other. So I want to make sure. This is what I want to make sure we're framing properly, because at a lot of the time we think, because you're talking about your privilege and your power and how you use it. A lot of time we've been taught our power is how we control a situation, and we try to control that situation by dominating it, by shutting other people down, by overpowering them. And I think that is something that, I mean, monogamy, just to be real, is not the end all be all. That's not the best. It's the only way. It's not the only way to live, and it's not just men or women. It's literally there are other ways to be, and so some people value monogamy more. That doesn't mean that you have sin and you dead and you evil if you haven't been. But the problem is,
I got a question, and I know y'all sick of me in this, but I really don't care. Exit off. Y'all can go watch the whole video. What happened in the Bible when Solomon and Gomorrah got killed? what was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. That's why I don't understand. People say they read and all type of shit, but I really want to know, if you believe in what you believe in, how the fuck do you switch what happened with Sodom and Gomorrah and make it seem like that shit never really happened? I don't understand that point of view of thing. That's probably why I probably don't fit in with these crowds, because that's some bullshit. If you know what happened with Sodom and Gomorrah, and I ain't got to go too much into it because you know what happened, how do you flip that whole subject and act like that whole situation and tell me that you believe in God and you believe in this, but we all know what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah, bro? And if you don't, go read the Bible.
Most of the time, the way that we're living is by telling somebody that we are monogamous when we're not. Hold on. That's lying.
But let's
hold on.
Bro.
So that's dishonesty.
We can't talk about monogamy. No, we gotta talk. No, we gotta talk about
you. I'm not arguing with you. I'm agreeing with you. Hold on.
Men are not. First of all, this is not our culture. And Africa is polygamy.
No.
It's not monogamous biologically, is it?
Some people do believe that monogamy is the most healthy.
97% of married men cheat, bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
85% of married men cheat. Nobody is being monogamous.
We've also been taught to lie, and we've also been taught to dominate and control. So I think there are other perspectives here that are valuable in holding that stuff accountable, because we were talking about how to hold each other accountable in this, right? In talking about trusting Black women and loving Black women, how do we hold each other accountable in that? How do we make promises that we can keep? How do we say that, make sure that we're surrounding each other with people who are going to check us when we're wrong, right? And how do we know that who knows what's right and what's wrong in that, right?
I think it's
even what I read, a lot of the time what we read is wrong. A lot of the time the books that they give us to educate ourselves are wrong. So I do want to hear more perspectives on literally how to hold ourselves accountable in that. How do we're talking about trusting Black women. How do we trust Black women, right? You know what I'm saying? And what is that trust accountable to? What books? Because a lot of the books that we're given in school are lies that tell us the opposite of how to trust Black women. That tell us the opposite of how to hold each other accountable and make sure that we understand what is right and wrong and what each other's perspectives are. So I love the energy of, I'm not afraid of the argument. I'm not afraid of the fight. But it does have to be. But I do want to make sure that we take it to a place where we come out here more powerful than we did when we came.
I think we gotta listen to Luke. Listen, I think we gotta listen to Luke. He's talking about therapy. No, this is what I'm saying. We gonna get your t-shirt. In order for us to trust Black women, we gotta fix ourselves. They got to go fix themselves, and it starts with Black people don't like to go to counseling. They need to go to fucking therapy. That's it.
Jay brought that up, and I agree that we must talk, but I do also understand the value in us talking, our perspective.
We got that part, but how do we find solutions?
Well, the only thing is we're not gonna get to a solution because there is still something on the table. There's still something on the table, and we gotta.
What's on the table?
Your point of view, his point of view.
What's on the table to me is how do we as Black men?
You said listen to Luke.
No, but I'm just interjecting, bro. Y'all said interject.
Well, inject.
Listen, I'm saying, how do we help Black women? I'm telling you.
Well, first we gotta help ourselves.
Right. But I'm saying is,
if we can't figure out, if we can't figure out what love really means, what love looks like to us, what love has been to us, what have we been taught about love?
We come from generations of no love.
Right. But does patriarchy come with accountability?
No, I think
the definition of patriarchy is when we have systems of domination for men. Right now, I think we're not doing a good job of naming the system that literally incentivizes us to be on some fuck shit, or incentivizes us to always want to be dominated. Yes. But I think in our conversation right now as Black people, a lot of times when you hear the word patriarchy, you think about the word patriarchy, you think about how we're taught in Christianity to be patriarchs. So a lot of us have a hard time thinking about leadership and thinking about how that leadership comes out in fucked up ways. I.e., I want to be a patriarch like Father Abraham, therefore patriarchy is good. Patriarchy is not good. The system of domination for women is not good. But a lot of us buy into that.
So I got a question I want to ask you.
What's your question?
How do we unlearn that? I think we unlearn that by listening to what he's saying.
About what specifically?
It's therapy, so we can go understand all of.
But listen, I want to be clear. Right now, we're talking about a system of power.
Right.
If you think interpersonally going to therapy is going to deconstruct the system of power, no.
I don't say. I'm not.
This is what we get at. Right now, we're talking about trusted black women. There's a system I'm saying that goes against it.
Aspect to it.
Yes.
I'm not. Don't go to no white therapy.
No, but hold on. If we're talking about therapy,
Let's talk about therapy.
this is therapy.
Yes.
Right. This is therapeutic.
Right.
Us, looking like us.
Yes. Right.
Different ages, different experiences. Us. It's gonna be ugly. It's not gonna be cute. We ain't professional therapists enough, but we are listening.
Okay,
listen. Hold on.
And I think that's the point where we got
to stay there.
Right here is just listen.
Stay there.
Listen and find and wait for it. Because sometimes it's just the listening. I think that's the whole
Therapy with no work is just a waste of fucking time anyway, and that's where the loss I don't agree with, because we always keep, and I know a lot of people that go to therapy, and we do need therapy, but even with everybody that go to professional therapy don't come out well, bro. I went to professional therapy since goddamn 5th grade, bro. Like, I went and I talked to people. My kids talk to people. I put this shit in them, but my daughter love talking to me. Now she loved her mentor, and I found that mentor for her. So I'm glad that she found somebody for her, but she loved talking to me. It's somebody that it could be a family member or just something. Therapy can be somebody you trust in a way where you could just get off how you're feeling. But in also a way, if you go to therapy and you're not willing to put in the work and the necessary work to actually fix what you're going through, because like I said, and me and CJ had this talk before, you can't heal from trauma. A lot of us be trying to heal from certain shit, but you just have to learn how to cope with it and be able to manage it. Because I promise you see how Clifton just got triggered? He's going to therapy, but he still can get triggered. That's why I say you don't really heal from certain shit. You just learn how to cope from it. And a lot of times we don't know how to cope with our situation. We allow on drugs, we allow on sex, we allow on different things to be our way of healing. And then that's not really healing, because you're not doing the necessary work to heal.
Part of this whole thing, because we don't listen, because we live in this space of feeling like we know everything. And we are not the smartest people in the room.
I think it goes a step further than that. I think we're too ashamed to admit when we're wrong. And so when we go, when I'm gonna say something. Tressie Cottom, credible writer, sociologist. She says we are smarter when we listen to black women, not because all black women are right, because all black women deserve to be heard, right? And when we're so caught up in the process of listening is love. That's how we love black women, by listening to them, right? Again, everything they said isn't necessarily right, but they do deserve to be heard.
So let me address that.
Hold on, let me finish. Back it up. In doing so, we can help dismantle patriarchy because we're leading. Hold on, let me finish, bro. We're leading with listening. And if we lead with listening, that means we're not listening so that we can respond. We're listening, just listening to understand, which means you might have to ask another question. If you speak, it is to ask another question,
and not censor yourself,
so you can get more information from the source.
And so let's start out really quick with that patriarchy, because we keep saying patriarchy, and you were saying without centering yourself, and I think that that's really important. Because I wouldn't know. I'll just be real. If me being, young nigga in the street, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't say young. When I was, I'm not saying now. I understand what it is now, but I'm saying when I was, I wouldn't hear somebody talk about dismantling patriarchy and be even attracted to the conversation or even know what that means, right? And so what I would like you to go a little bit deeper into what does that even mean? Because for me, the way I'm thinking about it is the way that we've been taught wrong about our power, that we are supposed to, that we have some sort of privilege in some situations, that we have a little bit more power than somebody else, and that we abuse that power. We use that power to try to control the situation in our favor, when we should be listening to other people, when we should be honoring their existence and centering their freedom, their liberation. You know what I'm saying? So what their experience. So what does that mean to y'all? What does that even mean to dismantle patriarchy? What is that? Why is it harmful? And I'm not putting that necessarily on you, but whoever wants to. What does that mean? Yeah.
So when someone comes to you and they already know what you possess as a person, you know, like, for example, like a lot of doctors. Once I feel like a lot of Black men get higher education, a lot of people want to get treated like a bitch. That's the truth. Like more accolades, get treated like a bitch. Like you want, like, oh, like
take care of me.
Yes, take care of me. Like, or like, you know, oh, like I'm the prize. You know, I'm the prize.
You talk about when you become rich and famous.
You don't even got to be rich and famous. It could be you going like for 12 years in academia.
That language
I'm trying to understand you. What?
Like treated like a bitch.
Like a bitch.
That's how they want to be treated. Some men want to be like a prima donna.
But think about the
That's
way
relative to patriarchy.
And what we're talking about now around centering like Black women and their experiences, and even the saying treated like.
I'm not making that connection. Bitch to me is subservient. Men can be bitches. Women can, you know, like I shouldn't say that.
But you're a man.
Yeah, but
so you being called a bitch is not the same as a woman being called a bitch, especially a Black woman being called a bitch.
I feel like the Black women that listen to this, they're gonna know what I'm talking about. They're gonna know what I'm talking about.
As long as we put, because I think it's important. I hear what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I get it.
See, the problem I got with that, we don't like to be called Black men. How can I say this without being Black men that date like women? We don't like to be called bitches at any term of a level, bro. Like, I just got in a fucking argument because of that shit. Like, that's a disrespectful term. And see, he's speaking from, that's why I just said, he's speaking from a woman's point of view. And that's the problem. That's a lot of the problem. That's why Clifton is getting mad, because a lot of time I got homies like that would have got mad too. Like, you can't look at it from that different point of view. And I feel like sometimes where it is coming out as you devaluing a man, like you're saying that, oh, we got to listen to Black women because Black men are not that smart or not this, that. When it's a lot of intelligent Black brothers who doing this shit out here without a Black women. You get what I'm saying? So that's where a lot of things where Clifton is trying to say, and I get what he's trying to say, and I get what they're trying to say too, but that's why I said my generation I can't really fuck with like that, dog, because we are, you talking about getting treated like a bitch, but y'all be acting like bitches sometimes, bro. Like, and in a way where I be feeling like, bro, you trying to devaluate a man to uplift a woman, and you don't have to do that. Because we already devaluate ourselves, because the shit that you uplift is, like, the certain shit that we uplift is already out of pocket any fucking way. Like, we uplift the most hoodish, ratchetest shit in the world, and we think that shit is okay to uplift. Oh, she just open doing this and she just free willingly speaking her mind. No, she could be intelligent and have a full clothing on and still speak her mind and do a certain shit to uplift herself. But we uplift Black women and do not hold them accountable for shit that they do. And I think that's where Clifton is getting mad at, because you have a lot of women out here that do shit, and they're out here and they do shit. And like I said, I love my Black queens. I love them. However they feel about me, that is what it is. But I know what I've been through with Black women as well. Mind you, I've had them on here plenty of time and took accountability for the bullshit I've done. You get what I'm saying? But we as Black men don't have to tear ourselves down to uplift a Black woman, just like a Black woman shouldn't have to tear herself down to uplift a Black man. We could come meet in the center and be able to be like, I was wrong, you was wrong. How do we fix this? Because you can't change the past at all. You cannot change the past. So us out here trying to appreciate or devalue the next just to uplift the other one is just holy bullshit. And that's what's wrong with our community anyway. One, we not together, bro. That's why I hated integration, because we always talking about the man and all this shit. Integration has fucked us up in the mind of thinking and everything, bro. Like, the way we look at everything and the way we see things is totally fucked up in this world, bro. And that's why I had to stay away from it. I can report on it, I could just talk about it and whatever, but I try to stay as far away from all that shit, bro, because at the end of the day, how I live my life ain't how everybody else live their life. And I see that now.
What I think that it's important that we talk about all of it.
So this is what I'm saying. So like, we're speaking in this way. This is how the dismantling happens, because the language and how we say things is very important. And that's what I'm saying. Okay. So like, I'm not saying like don't say it, because I'm like I say bitch all the time. Like that's not what I'm at all. But it's essentially about when we're talking about the systems of power, and when we talk about dismantling patriarchy, and we talk about masculinity and what that means and what that looks like to us
And I can say even to y'all as someone as cis men, because my perspective of it is going to be completely different from how you all experienced it, having come from a different place. So like when growing up I have two brothers, and the way my father taught my two brothers what it would be to be what it meant to be a man and how to show up and what masculinity meant, it was always domination, it's power, it's strength. And it was never really softness, like protection, not softness. So I wanted to combat the idea that being a good man, a man is being like or men are natural protectors or natural providers. I don't think that's the case at all. Men are not. You can't be a natural protector and provider when you are the one that's causing harm. Right. Yeah. So what do you protect? You're protecting. You say you're protecting women.
You said that so eloquently.
You're saying
so simple too. He said it the way I was trying to say it.
No, you're protecting yourself.
Then he be doing his motherfucking hands like this. Like, I'm gonna fuck you up.
So that is largely how we wrong.
And then we talk about masculinity. So when we're teaching young men and boys, I
think we on to something here.
Yeah.
I think we on to something.
What masculinity is, it's always an antithesis to femininity.
Exactly right.
So then it's just like, to be a man and to be strong and to show up means you don't be like a woman. So being a woman is less than. It's always going to be down.
Right. So let's go back to what we were talking about. Listen. Right. What I was trying to say to you is this.
I think
out of everybody in this motherfucking room, I'm 70 years old. My mother committed suicide when I was 4. My father was a dysfunctional alcoholic. I'm just learning. Like you said, I think when you learn, you gotta do better.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to do better. So we talking about trusting black women, because that's why the fuck I'm here.
Right.
And I don't like doing this kind of shit. Because my brain is on another level, because I live with the boss. I live with a queen who's a boss, that if you saw me, and I'm just saying this, and that's why I got emotional, because I'm living it right now. Every 18 seconds, a woman gets beaten in this country by a man. When a woman is killed, it's by the domestic partner. So it's a lot of things that y'all are talking about that's true, that in order for us as Black and Latino men, or you Latin?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm half Latin.
I'm just saying.
No, but I'm just saying. What I'm saying, nobody at this table is wrong. In order to love Black women, we got to figure out where we are as men and how to get away from what you say, that patriarchal kind of bullshit that we've been taught. Like your dad, be nice to everybody else, but got his thumb on your mother's head. That's not love.
So what happens when you come to a woman that you don't see as a queen?
Okay,
real fast. Right now, we just got done doing the No Kings rally, right? Talking about kings, talking about Donald Trump. You see what I'm saying? We keep on talking about a queen, automatically places a hierarchy. So what do you do to women you see as peasants, and or what do you do when a man does not see your woman as a queen?
Okay,
I think that's a part of the issue.
Real quick.
Hierarchy.
Wait. So I think that there was something. I think there was something really important that you bringing up and that you bringing up when we're talking about it.
I need a drink.
When we're talking, well, here you go.
You gonna take it?
I stopped drinking for a year. I stopped drinking for a year.
So I think there's something
really
how do we understand who taught us how to have power, how to exercise our power?
Let's go. This is what I was saying, guys. Listen, try to hear me. I hate to sound like the grandfather, but I am. Is when you meet a woman who maybe has gone through trauma and has come out of that trauma and has fixed herself in terms of her tone and respect to a man, and she's gentle, she disarms you. But if you never seen that, you don't even know how to react to it. And in the beginning, when I met my girl, I was so fucking mean, and I was tough, and I was all out there, and I was all over the place, and I was disrespectful, and whether it's dopamine or oxytocin, I put all that shit in her face, and I crushed her. This really happened. And I called my partner, and one of my partners was a thug. He said, fix it. My other partner said, when you hurt someone, where you leave them is where they stay. If we talk about being here to trust Black women, we cannot trust Black women unless every man that I know, and I'm still struggling with being monogamous in the streets because I'm well known, is we gotta start with, I believe, therapy, or at least reading and going into ourselves, holding ourselves accountable and say, yeah, I fucked up. Because the first thing, what am I calling my buddy? I said, man, she had my phone for a fucking month. He said, nigga, just don't say you did it.
We gotta meet people where they are. Sometimes I think you're saying reading. Reading is not the only important thing because a lot of people.
You gotta start having homeboys that won't be able to hold you accountable too. For real. Like I don't keep niggas around me like that. Like who tell you, like, and I used to do that shit with Q. Like I got a whole bunch of text messages. Nate to tell you in the chat when he asked me some stupid shit, and I'd be like, bro, he'll ask me, and I that shit be bothering me so bad because I remember certain shit that he used to be like. That's why our relationship was like this, because he knew I was gonna always hold him accountable. But in the same way, I knew he wasn't gonna always listen, but he'll always hear me. And I hope y'all get what I'm saying. He wasn't gonna listen, but he heard what I said. So the difference is I knew that he probably was gonna do what he was gonna do, but he in the back of his head, he heard what I said. You get what I'm saying? He knew I was right. Because at the end of the day, this lifestyle that we live, and he knew it has to become, I feel like when you talk to somebody, it has to be somebody that you respect in a way too. Because if you don't respect that person's value, you don't respect that this person probably been through what you've been through and they've been outside and been out here doing it, you're not going to take none of his words into account anyway. That's why a lot of times, man, when we speak, and I was telling this lady the other day, I get along with these younger kids, like the 16, 17-year-olds. I get along with them. That shit be crazy. They'll come talk to me about shit just like I had a situation earlier this Saturday where these little young boys was going through some things, and they was like, I was laughing at them. But I told them, I was like, bro, y'all thinking with y'all, you know, your little head, and you ain't thinking with your big head, bro. Y'all putting yourself in a dangerous situation in a town that ain't like this out, like the south side, the east side, the west side. This out here in Winder, bro. This ain't the same type of situation. Y'all getting caught in a girl's house and they mama caught you. Y'all trying to go back to charge y'all fucking phone. That ain't smart. Y'all gotta think. So I'm giving them game, but that wasn't this type of game we was getting as kids. You get what I'm saying? That's not the type of information these young cats, like the older dudes, was giving us. So when Clifton is saying, when you come from this world and you literally stuck in this world, like a lot of time when they get to that age, bro, they not trying to change. It's hard for them to change, bro. With us, my generation, we come from a generation where we listen more and we're willing to change and adapt and try to fix our problem. When you get to that age, it's hard for them to change, bro.
I'm saying people can read and not really.
Everybody's taking every fucking thing I said. Hold on, bro.
Nobody.
I'm not saying that. Stop taking the shit that I'm saying out of context, bro.
I'm just explaining. I'm explaining from concept.
You talking about? I'm saying reading is a myriad of shit you got.
Right, I'm reading and don't understand what they're reading. You just said that your woman, your black queen, she's a queen to you. And essentially, you kind of alluded to the reason that she was a black queen to you was because she was gentle to you and was able to make you feel like, oh, I can open up and feel safe.
That's not what I said. Be accountable.
Held you accountable.
Force me, man.
You didn't. Let me,
because I'm about to walk the fuck out of here. We right here with you. Okay? When I'm saying, in order for us to trust, if this is about fucking trusting black women, then you gotta be able to let your woman hold you accountable when you do patriarchal shit. Almost impossible. Because we grew up, like you said, fuck that bitch. It's just so complicated. And in order for you to grow, even at 50, and I agree with you, you have to take yourself accountable. I'll bring me in this motherfucker. I'm this. The main theme is trusting black women, but how do we get ourselves as men fixed to be able to love them the way they need to be loved?
Well, that's the beauty of this conversation, because we went to that. Exercise has been created here, and that will continue. But we talking about be able to have a place of trust that black women feel like they can come into this space with
And be gentle.
And be but be gentle with ourselves that we don't understand. That I don't understand what's being said. I think somebody's hearing me wrong. Somebody's saying wrong. Somebody's talking over me. Something's happening to me. Yeah. These are all things that don't allow women to come and open up to us because we are ready to play football every goddamn time.
Definitely.
Right now, we gotta. So that's why we gotta have our space to ourselves. A man has to have his space to himself.
It's patriarchal.
Can I ask a question to you?
Yeah.
People are living in broken marriage is not working in this culture. 3 out of 5 marriages end in divorce. So people are living in fear inside of their own homes.
Yes.
So the question I'm asking is for guys who straight from the hood. Is it possible for those guys to sit in here with us and hear us?
Yes.
And
being from the streets, I spent 2 years of my life locked up fighting 2 life sentences. It took a woman, and going back to what you were saying as well about how we as men got to stop relying on women. Women are natural nurturers and providers. It took a woman to show me love to say, this ain't how you do this. And my first mindset, being from the street, bitch, who are you talking to? That's what I was thinking. But I had to understand it's 2 parts to that. You either want to be a better person or you can accept what you think is right.
You,
and so once she educated me on certain things and said, no, baby, we don't do it like this. You need to go to therapy. You need to do it. It was a lot of things that I felt like I should have been combative about, but I wasn't because I know I talk to God and say, I need answers. My answers ain't always gonna come through a man.
For sure.
I was taught to believe that it did because a man should raise a man, but a woman is nurturing and caring, and if she cares about herself, she cares about her counterpart. So it's up to us to listen, to accept. We don't have to agree. 90% of the time, I don't agree. The fact that you can say, I accept, I receive what you're saying, you don't interrupt, you don't defend yourself. These are all.
I got a question. Is that hard for you as a street guy?
It's hard right now.
I get you. I get it. But I'm just making sure everybody get heard. All right.
No, it's not.
It is hard. It's hard because as a man, I know what I want to do, but I also know I'm trying to break a system that God is helping me break because I have to unlearn what I thought was right. And her doing it, and not only that, even going into becoming monogamous. Naturally, it's not instinctually something I want to do. However, I do understand the game of life to know that this is chess and you can't cheat. As a key, which I am, my key only goes for one lock. I can't unlock every house. So I have to protect my home. As beautiful it is outside, it's the same way inside. So because of that, I can't trick myself out of position thinking that when I'm so focused on this, I'm focused on this. My kids, my woman, I don't have time to kind of step out and be like, I gotta come on. She ain't always gonna be, it's a distraction. And as a man, I'm trying to win this game of chess. I can't do it, but I need to feel that lust. I need to feel that because I know I'm built to overcome these obstacles that are set in my way to make me go off course.
I have a question. When you say you don't naturally have an inclination towards monogamy, what does that mean to you? I just want to clarify this because you're like wanting to be in a monogamous relationship that is important to you and for your partner. So when you're out in the streets, what is it that you feel that you're fighting in order to remain in a monogamous relationship?
So for me personally, I don't put myself in a situation where I don't with it no more. I don't go out to the club. Okay. I don't hang around women. It's discipline. I got discipline, and this discipline is the reward for being disciplined is the outcome of what makes men so great and what makes men be able to understand. So if I know that there's certain things that's going to put me in those positions,
I'm putting you in that position hypothetically. Sure. So that's what I'm saying. So when you were out in the clubs and you were presented what was it that you're like, yo, fuck my girl, I want to be with this girl right now?
Because one, like you said, it's a lack of validation that I thought I needed, because the thing that made me feel like a man was that post nut. That post nut made me feel wanted because it started as a child. As we become adults, we don't understand you grow. The inside of you is always that child seeking that validation, that satisfaction of whatever didn't go right in life. That's what it was for me. So I learned that in therapy. I had to learn to discipline myself. I can't put myself in situations where that natural feeling, because if we only ask these questions when it comes to human race, We don't ask why lions go around fucking. We don't ask why monkeys go around fucking. The man is always allowed to go around and procreate in other animal kingdoms. But when it comes to us, instead of sitting there saying it's like men are dogs, that's all we know. But nobody gets to the bottom of why do men feel this way that they have to go and do this? And maybe that's just their natural being. But as a man, you still have to learn to discipline yourself, and you can't run with it just because that's how you feel.
That's some real ass shit. And see, he's not gonna really get it. He's not gonna get it. And a lot of us a lot of people don't get it, and a lot of females not gonna get it. And I know females gonna be saying whatever, but that's some real shit. We don't ask why animals are able to go do what they do and stuff like this, or how different, you know what I mean? And it goes back to Clifton Powell points, where like back in the day, we all knew granddaddy had, or great granddaddy had another family on the other side, whatever. Mind you, we know that the black women didn't have as many rights back then. And that, to me, I always felt that wasn't unfair, because to me, like I said, black women is very, very the strongest thing, a very strong thing. You feel me? Like, a black woman can help build you up and give you that inspiring energy that you need. I've seen it done. I see it done now. Well, one of my big bros, just the way he has changed ever since he's gotten married. You feel me? Like, I see it. You get what I'm saying? A lot of men be lost. They can have their mama and stuff like that, but they be lost out here without that black woman. You feel me? And I know it from my point of view, bro. Just, you know what I mean? Like, a black woman is something different. Just like, and I speak just from a woman. I can't speak on any different race, because I haven't been with it like too many different races to know what they bring to the table. So I'm just speaking on the black women, like we just what the conversation is about. But at the same time, like I said, bro, like I understand now where bro is coming from too. Just when you grow up in a different environment, or you grow up around different niggas that's like you running. And I had this conversation, matter of fact, with Michael, Nate, and CJ, where I was telling you, in my mind, like, I grew up thinking having multiple baby mamas was cool. You get what I'm saying? Like, having multiple baby mamas and doing this and having sex and all this. A lot of my homies weren't having sex. As much as these niggas talk about sex now, they wasn't doing this shit when we was younger. And I didn't know that. I didn't know a lot of shit that we was doing, bro. Like a lot of, like, I was outside. So a lot of things that I did, a lot of my homies, they couldn't do till they got older and out their house. They had siblings. They had, you know what I mean? Their mom didn't allow them to go really everywhere. I was outside. You get me? Not saying my mom was my mom was the best, but I was outside. Like, I always had attention from female. So a lot of things that I seen, a lot of other men can't even compare to. Now they could compare to it because they might be famous and stuff like that. A lot of times that's what comes with money. It comes attention, fame, and attention. And money and fame becomes a lot of attention. And the attention these niggas is getting, like I was getting when I was younger. That's a problem I have now teaching my youngest sons, or just teaching my boys in general. But when I have, Avon doesn't really have that problem. He's focused on his business. Stefan, on the goddamn other hand, that's a problem. Like, and I see it, and I have to be on it because I know where it can lead him, and I'm really harder on him when it comes to this female shit because I've been down that road. I know what that shit feels like. And certain things, like I said, bro, like, I wish I was way more disciplined back then, but I wasn't. I got like 10 more minutes of this, and then I'm gonna be done. Y'all gonna have to watch the rest.
I feel like killing somebody. That don't mean I won't go to jail. Right. And it's repercussions. So once you understand how to love yourself and understand karma doesn't always come back in the form of a woman cheating on you because you cheated on her. You may have been able to get a position and make more money, or because you cheated, you tricked yourself out of a position that you just didn't know what to come about. So it's necessary.
I don't necessarily agree that there's a natural order to men or women that's what being monogamous or polyamorous or polygamous or whatever. Yeah. I do think that that's a social construct. Sure. But at the end of the day, it is about the responsibility that you hold when you know you're gonna have sex with somebody. Yes. What's gonna come out of that, right? Yes. And in that, a lot of the time, it is children, right? Yes. And are you gonna be able to take care of that child? Are you subjecting another human to some harm? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And in our society right now, we got to think about the danger, especially we in Georgia right now. In my home state, Texas, you got abortion bans. And what does that mean for that woman now to make that decision for herself, to be able to make that decision for herself, to be able to care for herself and that child? So I do want to go back a little bit to when we're thinking about trusting Black women and the origins around the abortion bans and painting Black women as more prone to whatever, like justifying abortion bans by our behavior.
I hate to say it, but I'm for abortions if a woman believes that that's the right thing because it's her body.
Why do you hate to say that? I think
I thought we all would agree. From the other standpoint of people saying like you're killing something, this thing doesn't have a thought process, and we're going straight to the embryo, the baby, and not worrying about the carrier.
Right.
By thinking like, nah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Everybody's not making a choice of abortion based off of the fact I don't want to do this or I was being irresponsible.
Of course, respect that actually, because we in the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
You from Atlanta, I'm from Texas. A lot of the conversation around abortion usually comes from this perspective of Christianity and murder and abortion equaling murder. And for me, this coming from, I got a master's degree in adult and higher education and in human relations. And I learned a lot about how the abolitionist movement got hijacked by the abortion movement. So a lot of them started taking different symbols in history from the abolition of slavery and literally started making Black folks buy into these anti-abortion type shits. Monica was talking about how there was this very popularized notion that the most dangerous place for a Black baby is in the womb. And a lot of folks pick that shit up. So right now, as consciously, and I've been around a lot of other conscious folks, a lot of people still believe that, you know, the biggest threat to Black babies is abortion. And it's like, hey, where that came from. And I think it's important to talk about reading history. It's like, hey, when you do the genealogy.
So that goes back to Clifton point then. Like, if something was picked up from Christianity, then what else could have been picked up exactly in the same thing and been pushed up on us in the same way? So that contradict ourselves in a certain type of way. What else could have been put in Christianity that we feel that might be something that was put in and taught that was wrong too? I can't say what, like, when it comes to abortion, man, like I'm gonna say this because I'm gonna end it right here because I gotta go. Like, when it comes to abortion like this, I grew up against it, but I have been through it a few times, and it's something that I deal with that I hate, that I even had to go through, and I'm not gonna say that I'm proud of it because I get it in a way where it's like abortion should be like, it's a woman's body, you feel me? So at the end of the day, she's gonna make a decision whether I would like it or not. You get what I'm saying? Like, I can't force you. I'm not finna make you anyway. And I'm not saying I've been perfect with the situation. Like I said, I have a lot of trauma that I've been through with this situation. But I think, like I said, we have to have a real serious part about, you know what I mean, when it comes to abortion, what if we was aborted? And how would we, like, what we would have never got a chance to see life. And it just depends on how that situation comes from certain things. I think a lot of time when it comes to abortion, some people take it and they run with it and they just feel like, I know one girl that said she had 13 abortions and they knew her by name up there. They had to make her stop coming. So that's why I'm saying it's a give and take with this situation. You know what I mean? I feel like as adults, right, we have to be, if we know we're not ready, like, we're not talking about like somebody being, you know, in a grape or anything. And you know what I mean by that. I'm talking about with us as just being in, like, having natural consent sex. We need to protect ourselves more. Even if that's with a condom or we using plan B, we got to do, because at the end of the day, it's not the baby's fault that we was making the decision that we made. And now we don't want to live up to the responsibilities. And that's something I really pain myself on and thinking of, like, damn, like, I fucked up with certain shit that I made, certain decisions that I made, and that shit is the blame on me, and it haunts you, right? So we have to really look at that. All right, y'all, I stopped it at 1 minute and 20. It's only 20 minutes left, but I gotta get up out of here, man. I'm just gonna I'm gonna end this shit like this, bro. I respect them brothers having that conversation. I kind of knew it was gonna go left because I seen how Clifton was acting, but I knew where he was going with that. At the same time, bro, it was a good conversation. I'm not even gonna lie, it was real good. It was real needed. And as man, even as, like I said, no matter what you like and however your preference is, man, we all gotta respect each other as men. But I feel like we don't have to degrade each other or downplay each other to uplift women. I think we just gotta be able to listen and be able to try to take a minute to really understand each other's point of view. And that goes from just having conversations at all. We should be able to try to take a minute and put ourselves in each other's shoes, because a lot of times we come from different backgrounds. And I'm not gonna be lying, man. Like, I know sometimes, like, when people come talk to me, I be like, damn, why do you feel comfortable talking to me about your situation? And I never looked at it as even a good thing until really now, where if this female or anybody, but really if a black female feel comfortable talking to me about something that's deep down inside, she might not have nobody else to talk to. And she might not feel comfortable talking. She might do, but not feel comfortable talking to. So once somebody have something, and I've been a dumbass and a jackass and did petty ass little girl shit before, trying to be petty, I won't do that shit no more. Because now that I look at it, I know black female hurt from a lot of shit they have been through and a lot of shit they hold inside. And that, to me, as a black man, a black woman, or just anything, like, feel comfortable. And it goes both ways. We as black men, we hold shit in it too. But like, just trying to get it from a different black woman, trying to get understanding from their point of view, man, they do go through a lot. You feel me? And they overlook. And a lot of times they get, and I'm speaking for just a black women in general, but a lot of black women get overlooked by not only men, but a lot of the dumbass shit on social media. A lot of, like, 'cause every social media girl that's on social media doesn't speak for every black woman in this world, because a lot of black women in this world don't even think like that. It's a lot of good women out here, bro. Like, it's a lot of good black women out here. So I won't ever say that. I won't say that no more. Cause, like, I try to get away from doing that anyway, just downgrading black women, like, if I have been, because I do know that I am raising one, and I was raised by one. And my mom is nothing like any of these women, and we have our problems, whatever. Me and my daughter, we have our problems, but I wouldn't trade them for the world. You feel me? Like, and I have to look at myself, because I'm not always perfect. And like my daughter tell me I'm not always right, and I'm not always right. So I have to do my own work on myself still. And it takes time, bro. Like, everybody doesn't want to work on themselves. Like, it takes time, bro. And it takes the right people to come in your life, because you having the wrong people around you a lot of time will only keep on the same bullshit and the same cycle. You have to have somebody, and you have to have somebody willing to stick around. But at that same time, and that same point, somebody willing to stick around and be there to help you through that, you also got to put in the work. It's not on them to help you be better. It's not on them to make you feel what they feel. It's not on them. It's on you to actually put in the work. Because like I said, you can go to therapy all you want. We love to scream therapy now. I remember when mental health was all a joke for everybody, especially in my community. Motherfuckers laughing at you, calling you crazy, or you crazy for this. Now everybody want to go through the mental health situation. That's just good. But are you willing? Are you doing it because it's the popular thing now? Or are you doing it because you really want to help and you want to better yourself? Because a lot of us come from a trauma, bro. We come from trauma. And a lot of times we don't even see it. We keep trauma around us. We adapt to, adapt the situation we have grew up around. That's why a lot of people, when I talk to them, man, they feel comfortable in the hood. And I used to feel like I was still going, like, bro, I don't feel no place comfortable in the hood. Now, I said before, you cannot get me. I hate being in the hood, because I know I get triggered every 5 minutes being around that shit, being around people who think like that. I hate people that come to me asking me, can they smoke in my car, bro? Like, I hate them type of people, because it's like, bro, do that shit on your time, your own time. Like, we got to do better as a community. And if you think like that with me, I can just imagine how you treat other females. And like I said, I'm in this role model. I'm an example for my boys, and I don't want them to have baby mamas, to be honest with you. And to be honest, if they have one, I'm always accept it. But if they have baby mamas, I hope that it's a situation where eventually they get married. Cause I don't know what's gonna be out here during that period of time, but I hope even though I didn't show them the right way to get it done, I hope I'm teaching them and they listening that how I did it was wrong. And I wish I did get married. I wish I took the steps to being that, because them having to split and, you know what I mean, like they go to different homes. I mean, not different homes, but different places, like when they on breaks and stuff like that. I wanted them to always stick together, but we make it work. Now that I have gotten myself together as a man, we make this shit work, bro. Like everything is copacetic. But this is episode 110, y'all. I appreciate everything, man. How to trust a black woman, man. Rest in peace to my